We are Brightside Home Theater.
Hey, home theater nerds. Welcome to the Brightside Home Theater Podcast. The home theater podcast, it's all about the experiences, the sights.
The sound.
Lost him. Oh,
What happened?
John is joining us from
Am I not here?
Australia.
Are you in delay? That was... You're here. Can you hear us?
Oh, I can. I said the sounds. Did it not come through?
Delayed.
Yeah, delayed. Like, what was that? Good 7 seconds?
Yes.
So why do I have a delay? We didn't have a delay before the show started.
No.
It's fine. And it seems okay now. Oh, man.
Oh, okay.
I think.
Last week we had various sort of, flickering lights. This week we've
Yeah.
got phantom delays, John. I think this is not some sort of Conjuring-esque other side.
I
thing
paused
you're
for
visiting,
dramatic
is
effect.
it? Build
Yeah.
tension.
Well, with technology, it makes everything very dramatic because we're all like,
Right.
uh-oh. We're like, oh, no, here we go.
I mean, I can go out and come back in if it's not better.
No, it's all good. It's okay now, I think.
No, I think it's good.
Let me
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah.
We're good. As long as you can keep up with the conversation, we're fine. We'll wait for you to catch up when there's a delay.
All right.
Oh, 7 second
Well, I'm in
delay.
the future. You have to catch up to me.
Hey, I think of all of us, I'm the one that's really in the future.
Yeah,
I say, does that mean I can curse and you can just have the button ready?
That's what I was going to say.
Delay.
I don't know how you're doing your math, John, but if you're behind us, that's not the future. It's like,
So really, we should be able to curse, and John should be beeping us.
exactly.
There you go.
Oh, so
Oh man,
how's everybody's week been?
yeah, good.
No, you guys delayed for me.
Yeah, in fact, actually, Deej, you've got
Good.
Paul Hurt just saying.
There we go. Okay. That's what I was waiting to hear. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Let me see what I can do. All right. Let me bet. It's weird.
Whilst you're doing that, Deej, now, you guys, you can hear me. I'm feeling crook. I've got a cough and a cold and everything else. So going to bravely, manfully struggle on because I'm hard like that. Go on without me, Sarge. All that. But just want to take a minute just to say, get well soon to Jordan Carpenter. Jordan's obviously normally in the chat. He's not in tonight. He's had a hospital procedure today, and he is convalescing at home. So I just want to send him a quick shout out and say, get well soon. Nothing major, but yeah, he's got to take it steady tonight. So
Okay.
Get well, Jordan.
Wish you well.
How's that, Paul? I adjusted a couple of things. Like literally, I have John noticed it right away, but my settings aren't any different than they were yesterday when Steve and I recorded. And I haven't touched anything. I just sat back down. So I don't know. Maybe it's a cleaner pipeline. I don't know.
Right. So, John, if I've got to, then that's fine. It's a bit weird, but I'll do it if I have to.
Here you go. Oh,
Now Steve's muffled.
yeah. Let's not go there. Oh, all right. We'll see what happens with the Too Loud on DJ still. What the heck? What do I got to do? Except not yell at people. You can't, if you can take 60. Yeah, I can do that. But then it's like, all right, how's that sound now? Is that better?
That seems better.
Can you hear me? Does that sound? I just literally 6 dB down on my Rodecaster.
A little bit more than normal, but you do sound more normal.
Yeah. So I went from 56 dB to 50 dB, and I've been always at 56. And there was a time when I was too soft, and I was at 54. So I bumped it up too. So it's like, I think it has to do with I don't know. It's weird.
Well, we didn't all suddenly get better internet connections.
No, I know, but it'll be funny when I see now, on my end, I can audibly, my levels here are really low, but they're coming through to you guys louder. So I'm wondering what it's going to look like when I get the track. Right.
Yeah.
Remember? So I'm like that's interesting. But hey, welcome to technology, guys. So, yeah, I can't even. I mean, I have. Yeah. Oh well. All right, let's get to some home theater stuff. Wow, what a week for us. We jumped substantially in for the first time in a while. Let me pull this up here. Our YouTube page. We're actually at 953 now. I took this picture this afternoon.
Nice.
So so we went and we were in the we were hovering in the 30s for quite a while. So the past week has been really good. A lot of responses, a lot of fun. So thanks there. And if you're listening and you haven't hit subscribe, really appreciate that to hit subscribe. Because when we get to 1,000, I'm scheduling the 24-hour podcast. So we're only 47 away.
Yeah.
So
just put out speaker videos every day and you'll see that number go up and up and up.
Yeah.
speaker videos, what was that?
I mean, it was your own show today.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. Oh, talking to Youth Man?
Yeah.
Is that what he said? Yeah, he was saying that. I've done a lot since then. I listened to a little bit of that. I listened to it, obviously, when I talked to him, but then I listened to it again. And, I mean, the response I've been blown away by the response from the listeners, but also, like, him personally. And him like being so supportive and stuff. And he's like, hey, what are the links and blah, blah, blah. And he's just been great. So, it really is, who was it? PK over in India said something this morning and he's like, he made a joke on Twitter about us being both self-proclaimed introverts.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, yeah, but we are, and it's like, it's, anything other than home theater. It's like if you take me to anywhere, you take me to a crowded room or something, I'm just like, do. But, talk home theater, like it's not a joke. It's like pull the pin, right? And it's like, let us go. And we're just, and not just me and Youth Man, it's all of us. That's why Takeover Tuesdays work so well. Right, Steve?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
It's a strange quirk of relativity. 2 hours goes by in 2 minutes. Not quite working out how that goes, but it really does, as we discovered last night, and the listeners will discover in a couple of weeks' time. Are we training it, Deej, or is it going to just be a surprise on the day?
No, we can tease it. We can talk about it. Yeah. So
last night we spent a couple of hours, Deej and I, recording a Takeover Tuesday with Carl Ellsworth, the writer of Disturbia and Last House on the Left, and the remake, Red Eye and Unhinged.
Unhinged, yeah, we talked about that fun. Too.
Yeah, he did, and some very fun behind the scenes stuff as well that neither of us were expecting, and for a more mature audience.
Just one line. There is an F-bomb in there, but it's. I mean, to be fair, I'm going to allow F-bombs from Russell Crowe. Okay, so just beware for that.
Yes, exactly. It's not Carl's fault. It was Russell Crowe's fault.
Right, you got to quote the man, right?
Yes.
So. But yeah, he's
such a good guy.
Oh my God. Yeah, it was amazing. It was so much fun. And you'll hear the interview it wasn't even an interview. Actually, it was. He interviewed us.
Yeah, he did.
So funny. But that'll be in 2 weeks because next week is the listener experiences. So I'll answer, questions and comments that I've gotten. But, I was thinking of pushing that and I'm like, no, that's not fair. Let's just keep it going. And plus it gives me some time, but yeah, it was really, really cool. So, I got another Takeover Tuesday coming up from a listener with the, Gramani speakers in his house. So I was talking, I met him on YouTube. He was one of the comments this week and I was like, hey, you'd be perfect for a Takeover Tuesday. And he's like, I think he was like, what's that? And I was like, well, hold my beer.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, subscribe and I'll tell you.
Yep. So he's got that Gramani system and we're going to talk about that, have him on eventually and stuff. So we're growing, boys. We're having fun and it's, oh man, Patreon, I'm doing a lot more over there. Thank you to everybody over there. As a thank you to everybody over there. And, that's me. Oh, there you go. Hey, Greg. Nice to meet you. I kinda. I can't wait to meet you in virtual person. I can say that. And then maybe turn the other guys up, and then what? What other guys? So now you guys are too low?
I don't know. Are we?
Oh, turn you guys up. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, well, I mean, hey, we're not gonna keep messing with this stuff. We'll be here all night. It's like,
Yeah,
so
see you
how was
next
the
week, guys.
show? Well, we tweaked our soundboard.
Got it working at 5 minutes to the end of the show.
Right. But yeah, Patreon, I started putting out more and more videos, talking to them because it's super easy. I found a way to do that. So, and I hosted our first Zoom call last night. And that was a lot of fun. We had WV Brew and John Mensor was in there, which is the same person.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to bump the numbers.
There you go.
No, so we had John was in there, John Brock was in there, and Mike Wright, Aberguy, I think that's how he says it, his little code name. So we all chatted for like an hour or so, a little over an hour, and we're going to be doing those a couple times a month, and chatted everything. Had just chatted home theater, and it was great. It was great. So if you didn't get that, if you're a Patreon member and you didn't see any of that stuff, just go on Patreon, put your alerts on because I'm doing stuff pretty much every day now over there, just quick messages and stuff, but it's a little something for people supporting the show. So it's patreon.com/Brightside Home Theater. Look at that,
Hey,
John. I did it all by myself.
Oh, no, he's a
I'm
big
so
boy
proud.
now.
Yeah, I know.
He's all
So-
grown up.
Yeah. Brockstar, you guys missed that. Brockstar, he's like, it was a lot of fun. You guys missed out. So, yeah, it was fun. It was fun. So, I appreciate
It
that,
was
John.
1 a.m. here.
I know. So, all right. Let's see. What else do we have? Let me see. Anything else we should get going before we get to our experiences so we can get Steve to Betty by with his sickness? That should be.
No, I think we're all good. Yeah, I think we're okay. It's yeah, let's do this because there's some great stuff to talk about.
Oh,
And one that I'm going to bring the bright side down a bit before I bump it up again.
Oh,
Oh, no. Okie dokie. Here we go.
Wonder if you
Sorry, Steve.
yeah. Right he's right in the middle of something.
we got it up. Yeah, said he's bringing it down. Quick, cut him off.
Yeah.
Cancel it.
All right. So, I was, oh, jeez. I think I'm getting what Steve has. No,
Computer virus.
don't say that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bad enough our audio levels are all messed up. Let's see. We'll just go in the order that I sent this morning.
Yeah.
You want to do that? So, now I got to figure out which one was, there it is.
I'll just chuck it on. We can do it.
There we
Ooh.
go. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Now,
Steve,
This is-
you're up.
talk to me. The it's in theaters, I think, still, but I saw this on a screener. Now this is the movie that I was kicking myself about that I didn't ask Carl about yesterday evening because I'm sure he would have seen it. Because as we were talking, and listeners will find out in a couple of weeks, Carl has seen all the recent horror movies that I've seen, and John, he is our kind of guy.
Yeah.
He loves all the stuff that we love, and he's really, really enthusiastic about it. So this is Talk to Me. This is an A24 release, an Australian horror film. And I don't think I've seen an Aussie horror film since, well, either Wolf Creek or I suppose The Babadook, either. And so this was quite a surprise. It's a movie about some teenagers who come into possession of a hand, and you can see it in the top of the picture there. And if you hold that and say, talk to me, you can see things and see spirits and other things. And then chaos ensues. And naturally, it all goes wrong. It was absolutely riveting. Now, I know that a member of the chat, who I won't mention, John Thompson, says he fell asleep. Or nearly fell asleep in the theaters, which I can't get because I mean this was riveting for me. It looked and sounded great even on the screener. By the way, it's out in 4K Blu-ray next month in October, and I will be buying this day one because I thought this was excellent. And boy, oh boy, is there a moment halfway through that I'm not going to spoil that will just comes out of nowhere that will make your jaw drop, and then you will wince, and then be looking through your fingers probably for the rest of the movie, because it just something comes out of nowhere that makes you go, "Oh my god!" So yeah, I thought it was great. I really, really enjoyed it. It's only short, it's an hour and a half long. It's not one of those 2-hour epics, and really, really good. So I recommend this one. There's no Evil Dead Rising. But yeah, good old Stephen. Yeah. Well, there's more to come, Stephen. But I've started my October viewing early. But yeah, no, this is really, really good, really, really fun, and well worth it. But do not watch it with anyone that's got a weak stomach, because, as I said, the bit that I'm very directly referring to will make some people, I think, ill. So it's very, very good. I had a great time with it.
Wow. Okay.
So, I don't know. What does that say about you, Steve?
Oh, I mean, everyone knows I messed up.
Yeah. So, like but how was the home theater part?
Well, it was a screen of each. So
oh, okay.
But having said that, the image quality was really, really nice. It's got even on the screener, which is only 1080p, you've got the black levels look really good. It's very detailed. It's been shot digitally. There's no artificial grain in this, and even with the 2-channel stereo that had on the screener, obviously I was watching it. My receiver upmixes it anyway, and so you're hearing kind of voices moving, and so this is a day one 4K buy for me. I absolutely picked this up all day long. And don't listen to what John Thompson says.
Well, you can, because you might agree with him. Yeah. You're one man, Steve. One man.
And I like to spread myself as thinly as I can.
Yeah.
I mean, so is it subjective or objective, Deej? Just kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding.
It is very subjective.
It was objectively great.
Yeah.
Yes, right, exactly.
Paul, if you're into this kind of movie, mate, see it. So Paul says was interested, now very interested. Pre-order if it's. I think it's gone from the cinemas here now. So pre-order the 4K disc, Paul. I think you'll be very, very pleased with it if you like this kind of movie. So it's really, really good.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
All righty. Really like that.
And then all right, let's see what's up next. I'm up next. So this is the first something new this week. I'm gonna try doing this. Hopefully I can do it more often, hopefully every week. But so this is DJ's scenes of the week, and the first one I'm gonna start with, I have 2 this week. This is the scene from that was in the Trinov room, A Quiet Place. But what I'm doing is I'll give you the timestamp from the actual movie instead of like saying, hey, here it is. It's like a 4-minute scene. So this is A Quiet Place at 45 minutes and 40 seconds. It's the scene that begins right when she quote unquote steps on the nail. If you haven't seen the movie, that's not really a spoiler, but that's the part. If you have seen the movie, you know what we're talking about. So she steps on the nail. But then this is one of those demo scenes that has been around for a while, but I wanted to see this for a couple of reasons. So in the Trinov room, I don't know what was going on. I don't know if it was because of the size of the screen or what, but it was very, very grainy. And that was, and I talked about it. I think I talked about it with Travis and Todd a little bit when we were there, but I was a little bit shocked by that because it is a dark scene. And when you're sitting there and you're looking at this, all the other scenes were beautiful, but now in this one, it was just very grainy. So I actually thought sitting there that I'm like, maybe they have the 1080p version or something, because it just didn't look as what I remembered it. So I wanted to see that. So I saw that. And of course at home, it looked better. And I say, of course, because my screen's much, much smaller. It's a 110-inch screen. And then I put my masking up, so it's when you shrink stuff down, any grain like that, maybe that it very well could have been that, but I didn't see that in any other scene or anything like that, whether it's in that room or running the exact same projector in Mad VR, not the exact same one, but same models in the Storm Audio room, the Grimani room. So that one is what got me to watch that a few times this week. But then watching it this week, oh my God, the sound and how it moves. And we all know the scene when she's looking up and you can hear, the little tick, 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 that the creatures make, and that's overhead. And so it's a great scene for your overheads for that. But what I wanted to talk about was there's a part when it's right kind of at the beginning of this scene, and she goes over to the shelf, Emily Blunt, and she leans on the shelf for support because she's going through a contraction, and she's like, she's trying to hold it. But the creature is moving, and you can't see it. It's off camera, but it's to the right side of your room, midway down your room, but it's a bass thump. It's the footstep, and then it's followed by some higher pitch noises. There's actually one point, and I watched this so many times, that I think they shook the camera on purpose. I don't know, because I felt it, and it moved, like she moved, like the screen seemed to move on me a little bit. And I was like, but it was in unison with that bass thump. But anyway, so the bass starts on the right midway down your room. And then the next step is the front right, like right in the corner of the room, which is where my speaker is. It's right into the corner. It's towed in a little bit because that's where I am. And the way the scene plays out, the next step, it doesn't go all the way to the left. It's like center left, right? So it's center left, correct? Right there. But pay attention to the scene, because it's not just it's not like you have boom, boom, boom. It's like a really low bass, like almost inaudible, but you think you can feel it over there, but you can't. It's the higher pitches that you hear. And then it goes around, and it does finish out on the left side a little bit further away. And the whole time she's just sitting there as this creature moves around her. And it was a lot of fun. And I think that one misses like a lot of the attention because of the great overhead one that comes shortly after that. But that right there, the entire scene is fantastic, but just started at like I said, 45-40. It's a great scene. So my next scene, John, you'll like this, Bohemian Rhapsody.
Right.
Okay. And this one comes up at 1 hour, 5 minutes, and 48 seconds. And this one was also in the Trinov room, but I wanted to experience this multiple times in my own room. And I backed it up. So if you know this scene, this is the, doom, doom, when they learned to do that. So in the Trinov room at Cedia, what they did is they started it a little bit before that, and they gave you like them up on the bandstand, and they're like, the little group. If you know the movie, you'll know what I'm talking about. If not, see it. It's like, so there's a group of people, and they're learning how to do that beat, right? Doom, doom. Well, if you back it up a little bit more, I backed it up. This starting point is right when he tells them all to get up onto the bandstand. Okay. What I wanted to do is, if you use this as a demo, I think it's a fantastic demo, because what you're doing is you're setting yourself up and your listeners, if they come into your room, your listeners, for what is going to just be an explosion of detailed bass. And so what you're hearing in your room is the band or the group just stomping the foot and clapping, stomping the foot and clapping. And then all of a sudden it just jumps right to Madison Square Garden. And when it does, you get the full drum set, and you can hear it. You feel a little bit of it like you would at a concert. You feel a little bit of that bass drum, but you can hear and hear every note of the drum set, like all the different drums. You hear all the feet. You hear the clapping, and it just fills your room. It feels like you're in Madison Square Garden. And then if you want, jump back, start again, go back to when they're just in that little, in the studio, and they're just clapping and stomping, and then jump back to Madison Square Garden, and it's just your room. The detail of bass is amazing because you're getting the entire, like, all the different drums and the higher bass notes and the lower bass notes, and then of course you got Freddie Mercury, who played him,
Rami Malek.
yeah, Rami, which is awesome. But it's just a fun theme, and then from there you think it hasn't finished, and John, it's like that part when he goes, like the song just opens up, right? And now you're getting the bass guitar, you're getting the guitar, you're getting everything. It's like now you're just like, oh my God, I'm at a Queen concert. It's an awesome scene. That one's at 1 hour, 5 minutes and 48 seconds of Bohemian Rhapsody. So that's, and let's see, I pause. Oh, let's see. Boom.
Another movie with which has got really good sort of on the stage music and that kind of thing is A Star Is Born as well.
Yeah.
Which is in Atmos, and that has like that makes you feel like you're on the stage. You get all the reverb all around. You get all the audience behind you and then in front of you, and that. So yeah, that's another one that's also really, really nice as well.
Yeah, it's I mean, these music videos are a blast. Yeah, exactly. Whoops, sorry, I didn't mean to take that down. I meant to actually.
Okay.
John.
Yeah, so John says that's why it won the Oscar for Best Sound.
Yeah,
I mean, it did quite well, didn't it? If you think about how troubled the production was,
right.
it actually came out pretty well.
Yeah. So I mean, it's so good. So check those out for this week. Let me see. I'm got all messed up on boards here. All right. What do we got next? We're up to, oh yeah, that's right. We're doing, let's see. Here we go. This is All of Us. Don't know why that didn't switch, but all right. Ahsoka, Disney Plus. Steve, why don't you lead us off, since this is like your favorite show of all time now?
Right.
Yeah,
And this would be part 5. The image shows part
episode
4.
5. Yeah, that's the show.
Yeah, I just same one as last week.
Yeah, that's it. It's such a pedantic thing, John. Honestly, come on.
Just in case people are watching and they're wondering.
Perfectionist.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. Episode 5.
So, I really, really liked it. Really enjoyed it. I'm very glad I've seen Clone Wars. Otherwise, I'm not sure this would have made any sense at all. In fact, I think it would have been a bit weird if you hadn't seen Clone Wars. But having seen that, and we know someone who wrote a couple of episodes, don't we, Dee?
Yeah, that was shocking.
Never asked him about.
No, we didn't get to.
I know. Yeah, Carl Ellsworth wrote some. Just dropped into out of nothing. He wrote a couple of the Clone Wars episodes, which we didn't know.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then we just skated on past it and never went back. So that's next time.
Well, it's not like, I mean, it's funny. You're like, we skated on past it. Like we're all sitting there like, so what do you want to talk about next?
Oh yeah, no. So yeah, no, I thought this episode was great. And again, I mean, Disney have been putting stuff out on X, Twitter with Anakin in it. So I don't think we're spoiling it with that. It's all over social media now. So he's in it, and it's great to see him again. And again, I still get a kick out of saying snips. I just think that's cool. Hearing Hayden Christensen say it is just very cool. And there's some great lightsaber fights, and it's a good story, and it's great. And it's, I think, you tell me. Well, okay. Well, I'm not going to tell you anything about Rebels, Paul. Yeah. Just so you know, Paul, brace yourself. Vader is Luke's dad. Anyway, right. So, he's got to know by now. So, so it's great, and I think it kept the quality of the video and the audio. I still reckon it's taken a jump, but that's me. What did you guys think?
Well, the thing is, other people have said, I've read other people saying that as well. That they thought those last couple of episodes had a jump in quality. I still feel like it's been very consistent from episode 1 through 5. No spoilers. Like, I also really enjoyed this episode, and I thought the AV part of it was great. I did feel it was a bit of fan service though, and didn't do anything to move the season forward in any way.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, where did we end differently than where we started? I mean, everybody's in the same place
yeah.
at the end of the episode as they were at the beginning.
I think the viewers, though, that maybe didn't see Clone Wars or something were exposed to something that they didn't know about before. So I think maybe it was a little exposition, like on going forward.
I mean, it's super fun and super
Yeah.
fan service, and it was great to see all of that. But I just kind of feel like with 8 episodes, and this was number 5, we didn't go anywhere in this episode. Kind of felt like we took a pause and, spent some time with our friends, and then, now we'll move on next week. So
we did have a ride with some space whales, though. I mean, come on.
We did, which that was super cool. Again, no spoilers. But yeah, that scene with her and the, if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. Was really cool. So.
Did you guys see online there's a bit in The Mandalorian, is it season 3, where they're in hyperspace and there are whales?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Whales
I've
outside.
seen it. Yeah.
And
people are saying that
this is
Grogu.
some foreshadowing. Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it's just
I mean,
people looking to tie things together. But,
yeah. But so cool. What did you think, Deej?
Oh, I loved it. I said as soon as it ended, I'm like, I felt like that was more of the mid-season. Like that felt like more like of what a 4 should be. But at the same time, Joe and I were saying like it's actually like kicks off the second half of the season, which I thought was great. I felt like I see. It's funny, John, you say that because I don't about like we're kind of in the same place, but we're not. I mean, we are, but without spoilers, it's like we went somewhere and we're back to the same place. You know what I mean? So it exposed everybody, and I thought it was super entertaining. I thought it was super fun for the story going forward. And there's so much to discuss too, but that you can't do with spoilers, but without spoilers. But there is like, where could this all lead to? I think this episode is one of those like, and I get what you're saying of like it's fan service, but it's fan service to us that have seen everything. Not everybody has, So I think some of that is the case. But I was just like, wow. And it was 50 minutes long. I think this one
was long. Yeah.
Yeah. And but it didn't, like our show didn't seem it.
Don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with fan service.
Oh, no.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. I just kind of felt like this was a lot of it.
Yeah.
But it was all fun. Like it was great to see.
Steve, it turns out I'm pleased I'm not alone. Stephen Att in the chat. Again, I love how he said that, right? Stephen Att in the chat. Live and direct. Says Ahsoka has more energy than Andor. I agree with that 100%, Steve. 100%.
I think the makers of Andor, everybody agrees with that. Nobody's denying that. They're two different types of shows.
Right.
What's that?
Right.
But
you didn't like
Andor.
Yeah.
No, right. I thought it was ponderous and boring.
Right. I mean,
Andor's just different Star. It's very different Star Wars.
Steve, objectively, Ahsoka has more energy than Andor. But subjectively, do you like which one do you like? You know what I'm saying, buddy?
Yeah. Well, I objectively, subjectively agree with what you just said. Objectively.
For people that don't know, go to patreon.com/
Yeah, I wonder what we're talking about.
What the hell we're talking about.
Yeah, I put out a video on the difference between subjective and objective. And I didn't swear, right, guys? No. I didn't swear.
No.
Okay, that was good. Yeah, no, and it wasn't even angry. It was just that was one of the fun ones that I put out. It was funny.
It was weary. Not angry, wasn't it? It's just like, guys.
Yeah. Well, it was a topic of conversation at CEDIA, and it has been a topic of conversation for a long time on this, in home theater. It's a huge topic of conversation, people, and it's a sales pitch. So anyways, come on, Takeover Tuesday. I'll tell you more. All right. We done with that? We done with Ahsoka?
Yeah, very cool. Though.
Till like a couple hours from now, we can watch it again.
Yeah, you can watch the next one.
Oh, yeah.
So all right. We're up to there it is. Steve. All right. You ready for this one?
Yep. Okay, so with apologies to Stephen Att in the chat, who said earlier, Steve, another horror film. Here we are with another horror film. So
Yeah.
this is It Follows on 4K Blu-ray in Dolby Atmos, which was a real surprise to me, and I didn't know that until I got my sweaty mitts on the disc, because this was quite a low-budget movie, and I did not think that they would mix this in Atmos. Now this has just come out over here. I think it's a second sight release. I don't know if it's come out there yet. I don't know if it has or it's coming. But it's very cool to see it. Now, I had the Blu-ray, and I watched the Blu-ray, it's got to be a couple of years or so ago, and I didn't think much of this the first time I saw it. It's a movie about a teenage girl who, I'll be careful how I phrase this, she has a midnight liaison with another teenager in a car, and after their liaison, he says to her, "I have given you something," not that, and says that you will now be followed by an entity. Something will follow you, and if it touches you, it will kill you. And this chap says it's not fast, but it is clever. It's not stupid. And the film then becomes her trying to stay, firstly to work out whether this is real or not, and then to try and stay one step ahead of this thing, which takes different forms. And when I first saw it, as I said, I thought it was overblown and overhyped. The reviews of this have been stellar. When it came out in the theaters, the critics were raving about it. And so when I came to see it on Blu-ray, as you guys know, I have preferred to see horror movies at home. I didn't get it. I thought it was a bit ponderous and a bit silly. All that has changed on a second viewing, and especially in 4K. This version of the movie is fantastic. It really is good. The image quality on it is stunning from frame one. And again, I was blown away. I just assumed this would be grainy, low budget, kind of almost like an also ran 4K release, a low budget one. But I couldn't have been further from the truth. This was shot digitally, and the 4K just takes it and runs with it. The black levels are inky black. The details are fantastic. The contrast between light and dark with the HDR just breathes new life into this. If you'll forgive the expression on a horror film, but it breathes new life into the movie, and it looks incredible.
Does it rise? Like
there's no Evil Dead in this.
No,
I'm trying to steer clear of that. We're going to have an objective subjective issue again. Again, by the way, we never mentioned that with Carl either. Damn it. Should have asked him that. Anyway, another one I was kicking myself about.
Yeah, but you keep bringing it up like we talked about the weather.
Yeah, but
we missed so much good stuff. The whole thing was good stuff.
We should be keeping a list like Carl was. We should be taking notes.
I know. He just kept writing stuff down.
Oh, he's such a writer.
Go figure.
So this looks pristine, and it's one of those movies. If you took out the story and just had the screen change every few minutes, you'd be quite happy because of how good it looks. You've got the fact that still there is good because you can see the the leaves on the quad, you can see the leaves on the trees, and they're all separate and distinct. It's three-dimensional. It really is something special. I was blown away by this. And then the audio is really nice as well. There's a lot of creepy stuff. There's things going on around the room. There's lots of atmospheric stuff. And when this thing catches up with her and it takes different forms, as I say, you get some real punchy stuff with that as well. I absolutely recommend this. You got Carl there saying a stream for October. I wouldn't stream this unless it's Kaleidoscape, because this is too.
Well, that's not a stream.
No, well, yeah, that's it. Oh God, are you being subjective or objective? That's objective.
No, objective. That's not a stream.
That's a fact. That's a fact. Just the facts, man.
Yep.
And so this is, and I wouldn't stream this on a streaming service. I'd buy the 4K disc, or if it's on Kaleidoscape with 4K HDR, buy it or rent it on that, because it's fantastic. Really, really good, and makes a movie that was forgettable for me first time round unmissable second time round. And that's all because of the delivery system. Who knew?
It's almost like that matters.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
quite. I mean, who can say?
I know.
So I
Exactly.
really like this. And John, this is one I'd be curious to see what you make of this, because
Okay.
it's off kilter and it's odd. And the
Yeah,
whole
I've
thing,
never
of course,
seen
is an
it.
allegory for STDs.
Right.
But it's well worth seeing, and it's just very off kilter. But boy, oh boy, does it look and sound good. And again, I
If it's
reckon you could watch
available.
this, not like the story, and just thoroughly enjoy it. Yeah. Is it
Okay.
available?
I'm
Did you look
looking-
it up? Did you see?
I'm looking
Is it
right
out?
now. It
Let's.
follows
I'll look it up.
Blu-ray international delivery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Carl,
Oh,
fair
no,
play, Carl,
fourth-
I get that. So Carl
Um,
says, sure, purchase it if you think you'd rewatch it, but it was one and done for us. Which is fair enough. If you can rent it on on Kaleidoscape, then do that. But I personally wouldn't stream it, because I've seen the kind of the lower version, the 1080p one, and it did very little for me. And John, as always, saving the day for us. John Thompson, it's all about the presentation, the sights, the
Yep.
sounds, the scenes.
Oh yeah.
I don't see it.
Yeah. Kaleidoscape only has it in HD.
Yeah, I don't see it
Oh,
being
man,
available.
So yeah, it's
Second Sight release over there, don't they? They release movies
Blu-ray.
there.
mm-mm.
Blu-ray's available, but not.
Yeah, but Second Sight isn't. That's not the studio, is it?
Well, that's the thing. Bear with me a second, guys. 2 seconds.
Because if it was done by a secondary.
Yeah, so Second Sight Films. Yeah, that's the.
Oh, Second
that's
Sight
there
Films.
for anyone that can see it. That yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's a release there. But I mean, if it's
Okay.
not out there yet, then wait.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't suggest buying the Blu-ray. Get the 4K disc when it comes out. It's bound to, because it is so good. So I really do recommend it. But the 4K
Cool.
version, not Blu-ray. You might, certainly the critics loved it in theaters and loved the Blu-ray. But for me, the 4K is so good that that's the way to see this film. And then if you don't like it, then fair enough. But I think this is how to see it, because they've spent a lot of money, I think, on this to really make it look great.
Cool.
Oh, okay. Oh, there we go. John Thompson says there the new master is owned by Second Sight. John, do you know? Do they release in the US under a different label or a different title? Is there anyone else pick it up? I don't know if he knows, but it's really, really good. And of course, with October looming, I've jumped the gun. Obviously,
Right.
no patience.
You started jumping the gun in January.
Yeah, well, that is true. That is true. I don't need an excuse to see.
I don't think
horror
we've gotten through a show without you watching a horror show, horror
films.
movie.
Yeah,
It's like,
that's true.
and like every show, you're like, save this one for October, DJ. How long do you think October is?
31 days. There's plenty.
Yeah.
You can do Evil Dead Rise the 1st to the 10th, and then
But
just take your pick after that.
It's funny because like last year we like Christmas Vacation. He tells us he hasn't seen it ever because he doesn't watch Christmas movies until after his birthday, which is in November. So it's like you've had many birthdays since then.
Don't feed the gremlins after midnight.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You must have been all messed up on that one. Like, well, it's a Christmas movie, but it's a horror. I don't know what to do. Is that the
Ooh,
Thanksgiving part? Actually,
Yeah,
that's
well,
after your
quite.
birthday.
But if with a gremlin, if you can't feed it after midnight, at what point does it become the next day? So now you can feed them.
Yeah.
So like when can you feed a mogwai and it not turn into a gremlin then?
And
'Cause it's
God
always
help
after
you if
midnight.
you're traveling time zones. You're driving across country or something. You're screwed.
Or you're on an airplane, then you get Twilight Zone.
Oh,
Don't feed them after midnight Eastern Standard Time.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. What if it's daylight savings?
I know. It's okay.
So John says, this I can't wait for this. So yeah, John says in chat they've got the Hitcher coming. I've spent
There you
3
go.
years restoring it.
Oh,
Such a good film.
well,
Yeah.
Speaking of which is my
Anyway,
next
horror
one.
films.
Oh my God, what a good time this was too. Let's pull this up right away. There we go. Duel from 1971 by a little known director at the time, Steven Spielberg, something like that. It's like, holy. Now it's funny that when I saw, I had no idea this was coming out. I have no idea it was coming to 4K, which it is in November. And I'm here to tell you, get it. Just get it. And if you're a home theater fan, you need to own this. If you're a movie fan, you need to own this. I can pretty much guarantee you've never seen it look this good, for a couple of reasons. One, I didn't know this, and the reason I had a bootleg copy in the 80s is because it wasn't in the movies. It was a made-for-TV movie. And that's where my buddy Ron got it from, and he gave me a copy, and okay, I had that. It was remade, they added some time to it. I got all this information off the fancy IMDb machine. But they wanted to release it as a movie, and they did in the UK or in Europe, maybe just the UK, but in Europe. And they added some scenes to it, and that's what we have here. And the restoration of this is amazing. The picture is like, I don't want to say it's vibrant, because it's not like, Love and Thunder vibrant or Multiverse of Madness vibrant, because it's not that kind of movie. It is from 1971. But if you know the movie and you know the Red Valiant, that's bright. It looks great. The truck, spoilers, it's about a truck. The truck, the last time I saw this was years and years ago. I think I've owned the DVD or something. I don't know. I've owned it before, but this, I always just thought the truck was rusty. It was just a gross looking, rusty old truck. You see the different colored panels, like the fenders have almost like a pinkish color, like like a pink primer to them. The picture throughout, it's not heavily grainy, which you would expect. Remember, like Steve and I have said multiple times, talk about older movies. You gotta let it wash over you a bit and get used to it, because it's not today's standards. This isn't today's standards, but it didn't have that grain. It didn't have that heavy grain that you get, or I shouldn't say heavy grain, but heavier grain than you're used to. It looks really, really good. The opening scene, which was added, a lot of this was part of the added stuff. But you get a really nice overcast look and feel. And there's even one scene when they're driving down the road and you could see off in the distance, like the storm clouds and stuff. And it's just very, very clear. It's a very, the tone of the movie, the tone of the screen is setting everything up for you. And it's in Atmos. And the Atmos track is really good. It's really good. I wouldn't put it up there with like Psycho and DTSX and how that kind of blew me away, but it was appropriately done. At first, the opening scene, very front heavy, but then it does move into the room. Cause at first I was like, oh no, it's just going to, they said it's Atmos, but it's going to be like, almost like they took an Atmos label and gave it a mono, it's a mono track, but they gave it the Atmos label. Nope. It moves into the room. The opening, you get a lot of radio talk, which takes place at the front of the room, but then there's cars going by, you're driving down the road and you hear the road around you. So much stuff going on. The picture, from that opening scene, it moves on and it does become more vibrant. So like when you first get this disc and you'll be like, oh, DJ, what are you talking about? It's vibrant, but it's like, the opening is more like 1971, but then as they get down the road, quote unquote, you'll see what I'm talking about. The blue sky in the background. And that's what was kind of cool, is because going back, having seen the whole movie and then going back to the beginning, it really gives you that overcast feel. You're like, oh, that isn't just because they shot it in 71. It's like, that's what he was going for. The bass rumbles of the truck were really, really cool. Depending on your location, like depending on the camera's location, there's some later in the movie, there's some long shots and you'll hear the truck come up, you'll hear it go by, but then you'll get down close and like you're on the road, like you are the truck, those scenes where you're getting up close, tailgating or whatever. And it's like, it's roar all around you, but then the shot will go inside the car of what's his name, David Mann. You go into the car of him, and now you can still hear the truck, and he's looking around. I mean, it's the audio really good, and air horn jump scares. The air horn of the like. There's another jump scare with a train. I don't want to, if people haven't seen this before, definitely. I mean, I'm saying it. This is one of those guys. Do you agree that it's like part of history? No.
Mm.
Haven't seen it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Did you say you haven't seen it, John?
Haven't seen it. No.
Oh wow.
Okay.
Well,
I think
when
you get a kick out of it. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
well
Yeah.
worth getting. Yeah.
yeah.
I think that I had the special edition Blu-ray only a few years ago, not that long ago, and I rewatched that. I thought the voiceover was a bit strange. How did that sound in Atmos? Does that come right? Is that in the overhead speakers, or is that front heavy when he's talking about how he's feeling and all that kind of stuff?
It's not all around you. It is loud. It is like so when he first goes into like the phone booth area, and you're like, is that a voice? Or like, I know the scene, but it felt like it was like he was talking. So it was towards the front of the room, but it wasn't super front heavy. It was like came off the screen. So they didn't try to give you, I think obviously, not obviously, I think that if they had put that into the overheads, that would have been too much. Right. We would have been like, that's not 19. That would have been like, okay, they went too far with that. I think they did a good job with that. It didn't distract you. I thought it was appropriate. It was there. There was a version, and again, IMDb machine there was a version where his wife was supposed to go with him, but they wanted him to be isolated. So they went with the voiceover for the, to the descriptions.
And no spoilers then, because John, you do need to see it. But there is a bit at the end where there is a sound which is then used in Jaws.
Yes,
for one of the sharks. So it comes back in that. It's worth seeing, John. I think you'll enjoy it. It's
Honestly never heard of it.
It's just a chase. It's just one long.
Oh,
chase.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really one of the movies I'm going to do for next week, we'll talk about it again, because after talking with a certain gentleman, I can't wait to watch that again. So, and it relates to this, but there's a scene at the end too. I got some stamps here. At 1 hour and 25 seconds, the birds in the breeze. See what I did there, John? See that?
I do see that.
So that's the other part of this movie that's why I stamped this. It's not just the great sound that you do get, the dynamics of the truck, but it brings down to all the quiet scenes, right? This is like, there are scenes in this where it's just like, you want to be in an isolated room to watch this movie, because that really sets the tension, especially for a jump scare that comes on later on. But the lead character is kind of taking a break, and you can hear like the wind blowing around your room. I don't want to say it's the opening to Gravity, but it's really, really good. It's a scene that is, I think, definitely demo worthy. I wouldn't give it boxes of popcorn. It's not something you would bring people into the room to go listen to this, because unless you're listening to this podcast and you're really into this stuff, they'd be like, yeah, so what? Birds are chirping and there's breeze blowing, and you'd have to explain to them how it's moving. But it's like, listen to the breeze all in the birds. It's really, really cool. Great use of the overheads. And it's just a very, like, I love those subtle scenes, not just, I mean, we all have the great scenes of air horn, woke me up. Yeah, that was awesome. But it's the subtle scenes. But then for the picture, there's a scene at 1 hour and 7 minutes, and David Mann, the lead character, only character really, is standing in the middle of the road, and like, he's just like, doesn't know what to do. He's just standing there, but it's just the shot of him, the blue sky. I had to watch it over and over, because I was like, did they green screen this? Oh, what happened? Oh, look at that. That's funny. Okay. So I'll keep on talking, but my laptop just disconnected. That's how I'm doing the pictures. But yeah, the picture was just so good that I don't want to say it was fake, but it looked like just too good to be true. It just looked the vibrancy, the detail in his face, the everything about it. It was just the background. You have to, when this comes out on 4K, you'll have to see it. It's just an amazing. I was blown away. And again, I've seen this movie a few times. It's just always been considered like it's just an early movie, but I can't believe what they've done here. I'm really kind of blown away by it. So
it's a heck of a film. It is really good. And like I say, John, you'll be able to find it for nothing online somewhere, I'm sure, in terms of streamers. It'll be there somewhere.
Well, I'm seeing Blu-rays on. I'm not even seeing a 4K on Amazon for pre-order or anything.
If you go to Blu-ray.com, they have it. They're just saying it's coming in November.
Oh, okay.
So that's where I saw it. I went to Blu-ray.com and I looked it up.
Blu-ray $9.99. But I'll wait for the 4K, I guess.
Yeah, definitely wait for the 4K. The fact that like I said, it's like the fact that we got it. Let me see. Did you look it up on Blu-ray.com yet, John?
No, not yet. I was looking at Amazon. Hold on. Blu-ray.com.
Yeah. 4K. Yeah, I just looked it up the other day. So let me see. Dual. Boom. 4K weird. Dual. Yep. November 14th. It's coming. Dolby Atmos. Native 4K. It's a native 4K transfer. 2160p. Dolby Atmos. True HD. Blah, blah, and all that fun
Must
stuff.
not be up for pre-order yet, because usually they have them.
Yeah. Yeah. It says dual 4K pre-order. Notify me. So yeah, it isn't up for pre-order yet. But they do have it there.
And in terms of the UK, and I've just checked this on Amazon as well. So John says that Jewel, all the special edition of Jewel sold out in a few hours. So hopefully there will be more in due course. Fingers crossed. It is, it's not, if someone says name a Spielberg film, Jewel is the one, of course, that immediately springs to mind. But it's a movie that,
he's had a few good ones since then. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that is true. But it's a movie that it's like, if it's on, you'll watch it. If it's available, you'd buy it. You know what I mean? It's one of those movies. It's a sign of things to come. It's a sign, you can see the roots of greatness, forming there. And yeah, well worth seeing. I don't know.
He actually has a cameo in it too.
Yeah, he's in one of the diners, isn't he? Is he in a diner?
No, it's an accident. He was, you can see him, especially in the 4K. You can see him in the phone booth. So,
okay.
It's not a spoiler. There's a phone booth in the movie, but the way they shot it, looking into the, for you young people out there, they used to have these glass boxes on the side of the road, right? And you had to put a coin in. Coins were these things that we had instead of a full paper dollar. So, but you can, yeah, exactly. Come on, kids. It's story time. Yeah, it's the if you look in the glass at the beginning of that shot when he's first making the call, you see him standing right there, and you're just like, it's like, oh no, and that's honestly, it was an accident, and they didn't mean it, and why would you need coins? That's my son-in-law. Why would you need coin? Not in your don't try to do that with your iPhone, Greg.
I can't fit the quarter in there.
Yeah, what the hell?
Yeah, no, it's but yeah, you could see him right there, and it probably bugged him knowing him. Like, damn it, what am I doing in the shot? So
I'm surprised they haven't just removed it. You'd have thought over the years when they're doing these kinds of remasters, it would take 30
especially
seconds
the 4K
out nowadays. Yeah. But I suppose some of it's got some charm to it, isn't it? The idea that there's so many older movies when they're shooting into reflective surfaces, you can see them all there.
Yeah,
just kind of about it.
It's just
too late, guys.
Already got one. Off to Apple Care. How do I get a dime out of my lightning connection? All right, let's see.
Euphemism.
Oh, don't give John any idea.
I can't even get the visual on that one.
Oh God, we're in trouble. All right. Let's see. That was that. And John, you're up next with
Am I?
Yeah. Yep. You're up next with
One Piece.
What's that?
I don't know where the
graphic?
picture is.
Oh, there it
but-
is. There we go.
Not heard of this, John. I'm curious.
I haven't heard of it
No.
either.
Okay, yeah. So One
So
Piece.
tell
is
us, John.
Well, One Piece is a long-running manga anime series. There's about 140 volumes of the manga book, and I don't know how many, like 12, 13 seasons of the anime, maybe more. I don't know. But this is a property that I am actually not at all familiar with. I mean, obviously, I know it exists and I sell it, but I've never read or seen any of it. So I went into this fairly blind. It is on Netflix, Dolby Vision, Dolby Atmos, all the standard bells and whistles from Netflix. And it looks great. I mean, it's very cartoony, I mean, it's trying to capture the feel of an anime. So it's really bright, really vibrant. The colors, the characters, you can kind of see from the image there, like the bright red shirt, and she's got the bright red hair and a green hair.
I thought that was Gilligan.
No, it's not Gilligan. It's so it looks great.
Sorry.
No, hey, it's fine. The Dolby Vision really pops. Like I said, the Dolby Atmos sounds first again for streaming. It's Netflix, but it's actually really nice. Like I said, I didn't know anything about this, and but from what I've heard, it's fairly faithful to the source material. So all that being said, I went into I've only watched 2 episodes, and I actually just watched the second episode right before we started. So I would have more than one episode to talk about. I wasn't quite sure where I stood after the first episode. I mean, I could see where it was entertaining, but I wasn't, it didn't pull me all the way in. After the second episode, I'm a little bit more invested. I'm definitely going to go through the first season of this. I've already seen that they have plans to take this about 12 seasons. But it is also Netflix, and Netflix is not known
So
to
the end
go
of season 2.
yeah, to go that far with things. But knowing the breadth of the source material, like I said, even 12 seasons might not scratch the surface of this. But yeah, like I said, I actually after the episode 2, I am kind of enjoying it. I'm definitely on board. It's a lot of fun. Like I said, I didn't know what to expect, and I don't want to be too spoilery for those that haven't seen it, but I guess I don't want to say they're superheroes per se, but there are some powers that these people have that I didn't know. I didn't know that going into this. For instance, the guy there with the, Gilligan, he's like Mr. he's like Mr. Fantastic from the Fantastic
Oh,
Four.
okay.
And like I didn't know that. So when that first happened, I was like, okay, we're going here. But that being said, those effects make for some nice Atmos effects, because he'll like kind of wind up for a punch and his arm will like stretch all the way back, and you can kind of hear it going from the front to the back to whatever side it is. And then when he kind of unleashes the punch, you hear it, you follow it going forward, and when it hits, it's coming right from the center. So it's actually pretty cool. But yeah, the first time I saw that, I was a little surprised. And he seemed to have been the only one with any powers. And then in the second episode, something else happens, and you're like, okay, I guess that happened too. So you get the feeling, I think they're going to encounter a lot more characters through this that have different abilities and things. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm not sure that either one of you will love it. It depends on how into this. Like, I like anime and manga, although I don't read and watch a lot of it because there's so much of it, and most of them are so long that I just don't have the time to get into these like 7, 8, 10, 12 seasons worth of anime.
Yeah.
But I always hear great things. But it is that genre, that comic book genre that I like a lot. I don't know that I'm going to say jump right out and it's a must watch. I guess I'll let you guys know as I get further through it. But it is fun, and it is a really nice home theater. Like I said, for Netflix, it is a nice home theater experience because it visually it looks really nice, and there are some pretty cool like Atmos and surround effects. At least through the first 2 episodes, you can see they're kind of pirates. They're on a ship, so there's lots of sounds of the ocean kind of around you. You'll hear like seagulls and things in the background as you're watching it. So there's some pretty cool effects.
Cool.
But yeah, and if you're like I said, if you're into this, and I know a couple of people on Twitter have said that they've seen it and liked it. So if you're into this, you should give it a try anyway.
And you can purchase the comics at Arkham Comics.
Yes, ArkhamComicsandGames.com.
Yeah, there you go.
We ship throughout the United States.
Plug
Greg.
3D.
Yeah. Greg the Awesome Ninja says this is the next for me after I finish Psych. So he's
Nice.
going through Psych. That's another great one. How does this compare, John, to forget the name of the one that it's a pretty popular one. Joe was watching it. I think Greg watched it too.
An anime?
Yeah. What's like one of the most popular ones, and it's actually
Live action or
nope.
animated?
It's not. It's It's animated.
Well, the big ones right now are Demon Slayer, My Hero Academia, Naruto are all super popular.
This is a
One
little older,
Piece
but it
is
had
very
the
popular.
it was in their native. It was in like Japanese or whatever, and Joe watched it that way, but then they came out with the English version. I don't know. I don't remember what it was, but
yeah, I don't
yeah,
know.
Pokemon Dark.
Attack on Titan is another.
I think
big
that's
one.
the one. That's the
Yeah.
big one. That's the one. So,
Not
Yeah, I don't
Pokemon.
know because I haven't seen it. I haven't really seen any of those. But like I said, from the people that are really into the story, from what I've heard, it's a pretty good adaptation so far.
Yeah.
So I don't see a lot of people that are really upset with what they're doing. So
cool. All right, Steve, you ready?
Are you ready, Deej? Are you ready, John? Are the listeners ready for this? That's what.
Are we ready? Here we go.
This is
It's
the one.
not another horror. Yeah.
It's not a horror. Although,
Well, unless you're that one character, that would be horrible.
yeah, well, that's what we're about to talk about.
All right.
So this
Uh-oh.
is the 1998's The Truman Show.
Is it that old already?
Yeah, 25 years. Whatever it is, 25, 26 years, yeah. So, okay, guys, you both seen it? I'm assuming you have.
Oh yeah. Saw it in the theater.
So, okay, yeah, I think I did as well. Okay, so, it's a movie I haven't seen for a long time. I think I had the DVD. I never got the Blu-ray, and now this is the 4K Blu-ray in Dolby Atmos. It's another Paramount release, and I had it a couple of weeks ago. Now, I haven't seen it for a long time. I remember, I think, saw it in the cinema. I've certainly seen it a number of times and always liked it. I thought it was okay. I'd never loved the movie. Of course, it came out at the same time as Ed TV, didn't it? It's another one of those where there were two similar movies at the same time.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking it was okay. It was all right. And enough to then pick up the 4K disc. So, been a long time since I've seen it. And again, I'm talking about the movie here. And again, this may be subjective. Okay. And I'm aware I'm on the bright side, so bear with me. Okay.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, just bear with me. I found this, watching this with 2023 eyes, I found this very, very hard going. To the
Really?
point I nearly didn't finish it. I had to make myself do it. And I think this movie, there we go.
I think I gotta buy it.
Here's a swing for the fences, guys. I think this movie is as culturally out of time as Song for the South is, but not obviously with the racial undertones, but with the way in which it treats its characters and the way in which it puts forward its premise and its story. I think this film is horrible. Now let me explain why.
Okay.
The way in which the characters in this treat the main character Truman, who is vulnerable because he doesn't know what's going on. And I appreciate this may be my defense lawyer training here, okay? This might be Invisible Man style, domestic violence type stuff, Deej, okay? And so maybe that. But the way they treat him, the way the film presents it is it's a bit of a knockabout comedy. It's all very funny. And, oh, look at this. Isn't Truman silly? And look at all these people doing what they're doing. This is an exercise in gaslighting, coercive and controlling behavior. It is horrible. And every single character in this movie, apart from Truman himself, who is a victim of this,
Right.
is just detestable. And I couldn't get on board with the comedy because I was so offended and outraged at the disgraceful treatment of him, and I could not separate the two. Now,
But that was the point of the movie, Steve. That is actually the point of the movie. Oh, yeah.
I'm not sure
Because this
it
came
is.
out, yeah, this came out like right at the start of like the big hype of
Reality TV.
what reality TV,
Yeah.
and it was like pushing reality TV to that next level, and it's a reflection. Everything you're saying is 100% true, but to me, that was the point of the movie, was that, and this is why I hate reality TV. Everything you're saying right now, it's like, you know, like all of these shows, you don't have a reality show of a normal person. You have a reality show of somebody that's way outside the norm so that everybody can sit home and just go, oh, look, and make fun. And it's exactly, and that's what this movie is about. And you're 100% right, but that doesn't bother me. It's a reflection of society, and that is what we do. Look at what reality TV has become. And I asked my wife, go all the way back to Who Wants to Be a Millionaire and the success of that. And it's literally, people don't watch those things. Just like when you watch NASCAR, people, like, you're waiting for the crash. People are waiting for the person to miss the $100 question. And so they can go, oh my God, how did you miss that? Or like you see the YouTube videos or the Twitter videos of people missing the Wheel of Fortune. It's like, we love to watch people and watch them fail or see them outside of their element or make fun of people. And that's what I thought this movie was about. It's just,
and yet the difference between reality TV now and reality TV then is that reality TV now, they know they're being watched. They know they're on TV. So they know what's going on around them. Whereas
they do, but I don't know they know the extent. They know they're going on, but go back to Maury Povich, and it's like, how did you get that guy on the show to find out he's the daddy? And it's like, he's like shocked out of his mind. Like, why did you think you were going on this show? Some of these people don't understand. In my opinion, I've seen some of these shows. I'm like, do you really know what you're exposing yourself to? I don't know they do. And we are seriously taking advantage of a lot of people in a situation, not to this extent, but that's the point of this movie. It takes it to that next extreme, right?
Yeah, whereas I think the movie is a journey of discovery. We're supposed to be you're supposed to be rooting for Truman. You want him to outgrow this island, but the people that are controlling him, and it is coercive and controlling, it's abusive behavior. You know, if this happened in real life, every single person in this movie, apart from Truman, who'd spend the rest of his life in psychiatric care, everybody else would go to prison probably for the rest of their lives, and rightly so. And I think that and yet the way it's supposed to be presented is you've got Ed Harris. Again, I'm trying not to spoil it too much, but Ed Harris is supposed to be this, I've been watching you since the day you were born. I created you, True. And he's supposed to be an altruistic, godlike figure. He's the most horrendously vile, horrible person of a collection of them. And I think this is supposed to be a comedy, a coming of age thing. And there's nothing funny about this. This is outrageous, but looking at it through 2023 eyes, and I accept that. But if you couldn't make this movie today, if you made this today, it would be a horror film and a really genre-defining.
If you made it today, they call it reality TV.
Well, yeah.
I'm like, no, like, I don't want to put the people's name up, but people are saying in the chat, like, I hate reality TV. Dance moms having kids do interviews. It's like, this is going on. it literally, that's, we love to put people in a fishbowl. And we think because they signed a disclaimer, it's like, seriously, like, oh my God. It's like, we love to take advantage of stuff like that. And I think everything you're saying is 100% true, but I think that is the point of the movie. And it's that, I mean, but he breaks out of it, you know, and it's, I knew it then. I thought it then, I think, and I hate reality. I hate
But just well, quite, and me too.
Yeah.
But like I said, I think this is trying to say this is a good thing. These people are actually not, you know, they're not as horribly abusive as they are, you know. But you know, that's
Yeah.
how I viewed it, and I really struggled with it, and I couldn't get on board with the story this time because I was so appalled at what I was seeing on screen and the way it was being presented. You know, so that was a problem, and for me, I'm not sure I'll ever watch this again. But I'll, you know, who knows?
I can, if you want, send me the copy. I'll put it next to my Evil Dead Rise.
Hey, now that film you can watch again. So that's my dark side DJ bit for a moment.
There you go.
Now we'll cross back over to the bright side. The good
Okay.
news is it does look and it sounds really good. You know, the image quality on it, there, I suspect people will be a little bit disappointed at how soft some of it is. It's 185, which with some older movies does create some softness occasionally, I found. And it is quite grainy, and you can see that from that picture as well. There is definitely grain throughout, but it's well managed. And because it's sort of hyper reality, oh, excuse me, all the colors are heightened. It seems to be kind of like, it's almost like it's set in the 50s. And so you get all these very bright colors, the very green lawns, you get the red of the roofs, you get the red of Laura Linney's sort of dress, and she's got dots on one of her white tops at one point. And all of that really pops. You know, it looks really good given the confines of the movie. And it's in Dolby Atmos. And there are a number of occasions, Carl would be proud, where there are storms.
Yeah.
And you get lightning, and you get thunder, and you get the sound of rain, and it moves around the around the roof, and it moves around the overheads. And there's one thing again which is supposed to be a joke, where it starts to rain just over his head, only literally just over his head, and he steps out, and then the rain follows him, and then comes back, and that's all in the overheads. So there are some quite fun little moments for home theater. I said my problem is the exploitative nature of the story, which I think is of its time, and should stay there. But that's just me. Forgive me, I'm going to cough.
Of its time, but it's still going on today.
But I still maintain people today know what's going on, and if they don't know,
well, they knew then too. They knew then too. It's not like we had these shows back then.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And this was more of a like, don't let this happen.
Well, when Who Wants to Be a Millionaire started, people didn't know. When Big Brother started, people didn't know. You know, they didn't really realize what was going to come of this. But people that go into them now either know, or if they don't know, then they're being exploited and gaslit.
Yeah.
And it's coercive and controlling, and that should be taken off air. And the people that are doing it should be prosecuted, because it's a serious problem. And I just didn't like how they tried to make light of it, in my view, in this film. And it's a Peter Weir movie who's made some fantastic movies.
What was the one that everybody, John, what was the one on Netflix where they, it was the, was it Japanese? Where they killed, it was the contest?
Squid Game?
Squid Game.
Squid Game. Yeah, Korean.
Squid Game.
Korean. Yeah.
Oh, Korean. Yeah, Squid Game. And it's like, it was gory and everything. That's right up your alley. But it's making fun of the idea of a game show. But those people were it was basically Truman Show. It's exactly the same thing as Truman Show. Only people got murdered.
They weren't trying to present it as comedy, were they? They weren't trying to present it as thing.
Yeah, but
I mean, it's serious.
Steve, the difference between comedy, horror, action, and drama, there is none when you define them as entertainment. And that's one of the things I didn't like about Squid Game. I'm like, we find this entertaining, and it's like, I don't like, I liked the show. I figured it out in the first 5 minutes. I was watching it with my son. He goes, no, you don't know what's going to happen at the end. And then I said it, and he went, I was like, okay. but it's, you know what I mean? Like it's all the same thing. I think it's human nature. We thrive on exploitation. We just do. And this was actually how it angered you, I think, is the point of the piece. It's supposed to make you feel that way. Whereas if you're the other way and you're like, that's a great comedy, you'd be like, dude, that's not a comedy. This thing's about society, how evil we are to people.
Well, had it been, like, this is why I said, if you remade this today, it's a horror film. You know, it's a oh my God, what are these people doing? Whereas back then, I think they think, and you can tell it from the music, you can tell it from the way it's presented, the way it's written, is that it's supposed to be uplifting and enlightening and a good thing. And he discovers himself because his creator allows him to do it. I mean, it's just, and again, I appreciate, look, I deal with people that are victims of coercive and controlling behavior and domestic abuse and all this stuff on a daily basis. So I'm very sensitive to it, to be fair. And I accept that. Again, subjective, objective. So subjectively, I'm more sensitive to it perhaps than others. But I was not expecting to be broadsided with this as I was. It genuinely shocked me because I knew the story. I mean, I've seen it, but I was broadsided by the way this was presented. But you know, there it is. I mean, you know, I get it. So yeah, I mean, but you know, if you like it, buy it. Right.
No, but that's Steve. You're right, and I mean that's what art's about, right? It doesn't all have to make you happy, and I think you're right on with your emotions. You're right on with your interpretation, and that's fine. And I think we share the same interpretation. I just think I love that it does that. I love that it makes you angry. It should. It's like if you're just thinking like this is great, I'd be like, oh man. That's the sociopath.
Yes. Yeah. Well,
right.
That way we end up with Unhinged.
Paul Hurt in the chat saying, funny, I had exactly this conversation with someone recently, be it how we react to watching Squid Game. And it's like, this is what, and I think that's what Squid Game is about too. It's about like how we exploit ourselves, you know, humans. You don't see that, I don't think, outside of human beings. So you don't see animals you don't see two dogs sitting there laughing at another dog while he chases his own tail, right? And although dogs do that, but they just don't watch. It's like,
John Brock says in the chat, says in the book, I believe the director, Ed Harris's character, is much more evil and sinister. You can see how it would cross over into that. You know, that's where this is leading, in my view.
Right.
As I said, today, you went to a studio today. You pitch this to a studio. They're going to be like, well, surely it's a grotesque A24 style midsummer horror, Vivitch style horror.
Vivitch.
That's what this
Have
is.
you ever seen John, I think it was John Mulaney's stand up on pitching Back to the Future?
No, I don't think so. No.
Oh my God. It's his stand up is like pitching back to when you see that, you'll never be able to watch Back to the Future the same way again. And he, like, just as an idea, like one of the things he says, he goes, okay, we make this machine, and he goes through what it's made out of and everything. He goes, and we go back in time, and they're like, oh, and you save Kennedy? No, that would be a good idea, but no, he's gonna date his mother.
His mom.
You're like, what? It's like when you see the pitch, you're like, it's hysterical watching them do it, and you're like, how did they make this? So all right.
That one triggered much more debate than I thought it would, in terms of when I first sat down to watch it, I just thought it was another movie to watch. It's only as I watched it, and to my horror, it sort of realized what we were straying into. But yeah, there we go. But as it is, it's decent. We've got Paul is asking, go on, ask you who he had the conversation with. Do we want to know? You're not going to say Russell Brand, are you, Paul? Don't say Russell Brand, mate.
Oh no. I got this. I forgot to show this image. Actually, this is an image from Duel. Look at that.
Oh, wow.
It's just gorgeous.
Feel the sunlight.
Yeah.
Feel the warmth of the sun. Nice.
Just
I wonder when you put that on there. I wonder what that was from. I didn't twig that was from Duel.
Yeah. Isn't that beautiful? I was just like, I just happened to see it there when I hadn't used it. So, all right. We got coming up our last of the evening. We'll use John's image first here.
Thankfully,
I
no.
hope this goes a little bit better than the last one.
I'm curious about this to see what you guys make of this. I'm very curious. And
Uh-oh.
I've got a bit of trepidation as well, but I'm curious.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, John.
Well,
It's Passengers.
I don't have the image, but yeah, it's Passengers.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
4K, 4K UHD, Dolby Atmos. This was a first time watch for me. I think it was for you as well, DJ. You said?
Yeah. Oops. Wrong button.
So watching this with Steve's previous comments in mind, I was, trying to decipher what he was referring to when he when he talked about it being very disturbing. So let's talk about the AV part of it first, I guess. Excellent disc. This was, I think what prompted it is because it was a demo in one of the rooms.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, which scene did they use?
It was the scene where he had to vent the
plasma or whatever.
The plasma at So
this is a fantastic disc.
Yeah.
I mean, that scene especially. I mean, it rumbled it shook my whole house.
Yeah. There's a lot of scenes like that, but yes,
happy to say my subwoofers stayed in place, so my fix seems to be holding. I think this is a great disc. It looks fantastic visually. It's very sharp. It's 4K. You expect it to look good, but dark space scenes when you needed them, and the audio on this was fantastic. Yeah, really good. I'm assuming you feel the same, DJ.
Oh yeah. It's I watched this obviously after seeing that scene, and it blew me away. The story blew me away. The home theater experience blew me away. Like you said, the bass. There's a scene at 1 hour and 2 minutes, and if you know the story, you'll know what I mean. But it's like part of the storyline is exposed, and they use the sound to set the ominence of what is going on, of what is being told, and it's just an amazing use of sound to help tell the story. It was that scene was awesome. There's a scene where they use it's space travel, so they slingshot around a star. That's at 59 minutes, and the sound that they use there and the picture, because you get to see the picture in this. It was just the 10-minute mark, the hologram room. Right. And it's like, so this is futuristic, and a character walks into a room, and it's like, boy, and like you see the entire solar system around them. It's never been done like that, I don't think. In all the Star Wars movies we've seen, it looks awesome. It from beginning to end, I thought this picture. I was surprised we haven't heard more about this, to be honest with you. This is from what, 2018, I think.
Oh, I thought it was a little older. Is it 18?
Oh, is it? I don't know.
It was lambasted by critics, and it died at the box office, which
Really?
is why this kind of came and went. This was a movie that Sony were almost embarrassed about. I think they had high hopes for it. We've got Pratt and Lawrence, two A-listers, even at that time, and I think they had high hopes for it, and the critics were so savage that they kind of just let it go. I think they are a bit embarrassed by it, which I think is wrong.
I don't understand. Yeah, I mean,
it's a great conversation piece.
It is.
It's
I know
fantastic conversation.
Obviously,
piece.
I know what you're referring to, Steve. And I don't know how much we want to spoil. I'm assuming most people have seen this, although DJ and I hadn't seen it. So I don't want to spoil a whole lot, but yeah, the Chris Pratt's character, he makes a pretty sketchy decision. about midpoint. Well, not even midpoint, about half
No.
hour or so into the movie. And yeah, I mean, it's you know, it's you know, it's a rough decision, but you know, I also ask, what would you do
Wha-
if you were
yeah.
put in that situation? Number
Exactly.
one, and what would you do if you were put in that situation and you came upon Jennifer Lawrence sleeping in her cryo tube? But you know what do you do if you're in that situation, right? Two, like, you can never use the results to justify the decision, but had he not made the decision that he made, they all die, right? Everybody dies. And so
yeah.
so the outcome, you know, again, you can't necessarily, because he didn't know that at the time, right? So you
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
necessarily
Yeah, but
justify the decision by the results.
Yeah,
But
the ends justify the means.
right, and you know, you can't go with that. But the facts are, if he doesn't do what he does, they all die, right?
We could have I don't know. It's like I have a whole other take that would actually be like, there is a version. I get what you're saying, but there is a version where it's almost like not even wrong, because you could say that it goes on every day. Somebody makes a decision in front of you and it affects the rest of your life, and you don't have the rest of the life that you wanted, doesn't mean that they did something wrong. They made a decision and now it affects your life too. And that's what I
Right,
thought
but
was
you can argue
great
that
about
it was
this.
it was a very self-serving and selfish decision at the time, right?
Correct.
It wasn't
But,
for the
yeah,
betterment of anybody but
Nope.
Chris.
Yeah.
Nope.
And
Nope.
so there's
Nope. But the situation, and again, it's
now
like
we're
for
dancing
people.
around it, and everybody now knows exactly what we're talking about.
Well, no, because we're dancing around it, but there's so much more to talk about, and it's such a great and that's what I think is great about this movie, and it's a shame it got lambasted, because it's like, what are you doing? That's what these things are supposed to do. That's what the Truman Show is supposed to do. That's what Passenger is supposed to do. It's supposed to inspire conversation, so then people learn, like, oh my God, you're a psycho. You think that's okay. Or, oh my God, oh, I didn't see it from that perspective, or whatever. Or look at Steve and I with Invisible Man. It's like, without these conversations, you're not understanding a new perspective. You're not, not you, John, but I mean people.
No, I hear you.
And it's like, oh, it's supposed to be entertaining. Well, go see a goddamn comedian if it's supposed to be entertaining. You know, it's like, it's supposed to inspire emotion. It's supposed to do something, and that doesn't mean you have to walk out of there going, oh, wow, that was awesome, with a big smile on your face. You might be angry when you're done, but guess what? It won. It did its job, and that's what this movie does. Cause you're just like, it's like, you could see all sides of it. You see every character's perception of it, and you'd be like, wow. And I would be every single character. Right. It's like, I mean, and let's go through the characters. It's like, no.
Well, I was going to say, just going back to like the moral dilemma here, like, does he redeem himself by presenting the choice at the end of the movie? Because
I think
but see, that's too shallow. I think it's more of,
or does he present the choice knowing that it's not going to be accepted?
No. But what I'm saying is like, to go a little deeper, I'd say when I was 16 years old, I probably, when I was 16 years old and I didn't meet Jen then, but knowing everybody then, I would be like, oh yeah, I'm, whatever. I'm not jumping in front of a truck for her. But now I'd give my life. Right. And we all would. And I think you can look, and these are those conversations that you can have with this movie and say, like, it's the growth. It's this. There at one point. Yeah, exactly.
John says,
thanks, John.
Very deep, very deep this evening, guys. A kind of dark shadow of brown.
I know. Yeah.
Right, you go on, man. Sorry.
No, that was good. But no, that's what I mean. It's like, I mean, there's so many things here, and you also have to, and as much as we've talked about it, we're leaving so much detail of this movie out of it that it's not a spoiler, because you have to understand where he was at the time. You have to understand, I mean, literally how it came to be, literally the events that led up to him doing what he did and what he did almost did before that. And I mean, there's so many things that it's like I think, John, if you went back and watched it again, you might be like, oh, okay, he hadn't done it yet. And you're like, oh, wow, there's.
Oh, I'm not upset at all by the decision. So I'm not
right. But it's like,
trying to
I don't
convince
think
me of
it's
anything, but-
no. I just
But
don't
I
think
also
it's as
it's a year-
sketchy.
like, well, but here's the thing. Like, okay, let's say he succumbed to his loneliness and this and that and blah, blah, blah. Is a year long enough to justify it? Maybe it's 10
You can't
years.
put it.
Maybe after 10 years, you can say, okay,
You'd be dead.
I'm right where you are, right? Like, I get your
Yeah.
decision. But a year's not that long. Now,
That's subjective,
a year's
though.
a long time to be alone, but I don't know.
Right.
Like, is it
But
5
guys-
years? Is it 10 years? Is it,
Yeah, but
12
but
months
guys,
seems like pretty short,
he's got his own home theater.
Exactly.
I know.
Listen, I'd be fine for a year, man. I'm playing basketball. I
10.
got all the cereal that I want. I can watch all the movies that I want. I got a bartender
they
giving me
are-
drinks.
They're pitching this decision to the wrong people, aren't they? with us?
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're good.
I got
Leave us to it.
booze and movies, man. I don't need anything else. I'm good for the
What's
next
up?
90 years. Just strap me in.
I know you, John. I'm thinking that most of the pods would.
I got 2 hands.
Push him out.
No, I just think
Tell me this, guys. Did either of you watch it with your other halves? With
Yes.
your wives?
no, I didn't because Jen thought it was going to be like and I did too. I was like, I asked her and she was like, she read the synopsis and she was like, it's a space movie, right? And it's like, okay. And I came up and I was like, do you want to go watch it? And she's like, no. I go, it's amazing. I wish you'd watched it with me because we could have the discussion. So I basically just reenacted the whole movie for her. And, and
part
and
did
Did you wear a
play?
dress for the Jennifer
Yeah.
Lawrence bits?
yeah, no, that white bathing suit. And I looked fabulous. So, I was just gonna make another comment. I'll save that for Patreon.
You sold Great.
Yeah, exactly.
Right,
Oh,
well-
there we go. Yeah.
Um,
So,
The reason I ask if you did is because I'm wary of, even as I say this, whether other genders and other people
yeah,
might split down the line as to whether they think this decision was right or not. And I wonder whether this is a question, not a statement, whether people of the same gender of the person in this who has the choice taken away from them would take a different view and just be like, this guy's an animal. And I don't. That's a question. I don't know. But I wonder that. This is why I kind of ask as to whether what conversations were. Did you have a conversation with Lydia about it, John? You obviously don't have to say, mate, if it's not for public.
No. We
perception.
she didn't go so deep in it. I guess it
Mm-hmm.
was just a movie on the surface, and I don't think she took any kind of view on it, to be honest with you. We didn't talk a whole lot about it, but she kind of goes into a lot of these just saying, look, this is a movie that stars these 2 people. I know that we're going to have both of these people heavily involved in this movie, and this is how we get there, so
That's fair enough.
it didn't we didn't go too deep on it. Now maybe she did feel certain ways and we just didn't discuss it, but she didn't say anything about it when we watched it. So
I think when the shot, because I tried to rewatch some of this afternoon and I ran out of time. I actually really like this movie and I was pleasantly surprised when I first saw it, actually on my iPad, Deej, years ago.
and you still enjoyed it. Wait till you see it
enjoyed it.
in Cinema George.
Well, quite well. That's it. I was very plug 3. I was very pleasantly surprised. Tune in 2 weeks, guys, if you're wondering what that's all about.
That was great.
Yeah. So hey, look, Hollywood now knows the name of Cinema George.
I know.
I've reached my zenith.
No, it's still just our listeners.
Yeah, well,
What do you think? What Yeah, Brightside Home Theater going out on satellite to all of Hollywood.
You say that Deej, when Unhinged 2 takes place in Cinema George, right? Then you'll have to eat crow.
Unhinged 1 took place in Cinema George.
Well,
It took
quite.
place
Yeah, but
in
for
my
real.
cinema.
Yeah. It'll just be me stabbing someone while I'm watching Truman Show.
Oh.
Anyway,
Even spoilers, even Carl was like, why do you say like it's a plug? There's
Plug,
nobody
yeah.
going.
was
Like
gonna
he's
come.
selling tickets to Cinema George. Like he's like, shameless plug. I got a cinema. Well, that's why we all do. That's why we're here.
anyway,
So funny. It's like,
so I
get your merchandise now for Cinema
yeah,
George.
hey, matter of time.
I'll
so,
put it up on
yes.
TeePublic.
Yeah. What? So I really enjoyed it first time. I was pleasantly surprised, and the reason I watched it on my iPad is because I'd heard it was terrible, and so I thought, well, I'll watch it and see it, if I there's anything to it, and I really enjoyed it. And then watched it properly when I got the 4K disc, in Cinema George. Plug 4. And it was very, very good. But what I think my favorite part of it is you talk about the sound when that decision is revealed.
Yep.
The shot of Jennifer Lawrence, the look on her face
Mm.
of horror, revulsion, outright terror, and betrayal is acting like you just can't believe. They talk about cinema show don't tell, and just the look on her face when she finds
Yeah.
out, I thought was just incredible. And for me, the whole movie revolves around that one bit.
Yeah.
So I think this film, it's a shame it's been maligned. It's a shame it's been overlooked because it is a good home theater experience. It is a good, it's a good time to watch it. It's entertaining, but it also has this discussion that
It's
over
funny.
that decision. Yeah, it is. Yeah,
Like
yeah,
some
yeah.
of some of Chris Pratt stuff. Like you see, what's his name? Space Lord. What does he call himself there?
Our Lord.
Our Lord.
Star Lord. Yeah, Star Lord and the dance off. You got that stuff going on there. I thought that one particular scene that was a scene like the Cedia demo, I thought that was similar to the nod from like him and Hemsworth had the joke of like, remember in Endgame and Infinity War, and they were like, when they first met in Infinity War, and he was like imitating him and he's doing his accent and stuff. Chris Pratt was, but then later in that movie, he does the thing with the, Chris Pratt, Thor has to hold the thing open. And I was like, are they, I couldn't remember which came first or if they knew about it. I think that came first. So maybe the Endgame or Infinity was the nod to this. I don't know. But I saw a lot of similarities watching it. But it's an awesome home theater experience. And like you said, Steve, that scene with Jennifer Lawrence and that's the 102. That's what I was saying. And the sound of that is just awesome. At 1 hour and 40 minutes, there's it's called Override Now, I called it. And it's like the music that they use, it sounds like it's from Iron Man. It's like it's got the same tones to it. It's like when you'll know if you jump to that, you'll see what I mean. And then at 1 hour, 18 minutes and 50 seconds, there's some gravity loss on the ship. And the bass is amazing, but then the CGI that they did with Jennifer Lawrence's character and how everything was just, it looked awesome. I can't get over how good this picture was, the space shots, everything about it. It's just,
It's,
another one.
4 words, Deej. It's a Sony disc.
Yeah.
I mean, you almost get to the point where that's all you've got to say about Sony releases. They're absolutely incredible. But they spent a lot of money on this as well. This was you could tell that from the CG and from
it's a big budget movie.
The 2 A-list stars. They spent a lot of money on it. And yet, as I said, unfairly maligned, I would say. I think they sold it as a bit of a romantic comedy. I think that, I think that's kind of where they may have marketed it wrong. People just thought, it's a knockabout comedy, and it's not. People will get challenged very quickly, I think, in this film. But it's also got a bit of Wall-E to it about how his involvement then starts to cause every little thing to start to break down. So Wally had that as well. So
Yeah.
there's a little bit of that I spotted in it, but yeah, no, it's,
Yeah, but that wasn't
Nicholas
him. That
No.
wasn't him. It was
No,
yeah.
just the ship starting to have its problems.
Right. Yeah. That's how
Yeah.
it opens with that. And it's
Mhm.
but yeah, really, really awesome movie. I was very, very surprised at how good it was.
Mm.
Both home theater and story wise. And
Yeah.
I think we expressed our opinions, our subjective opinions.
Yes.
One more thing quickly before we get going. I know, Steve, we got to get you to Betty by there, buddy. Why isn't this opening? Come on. There it is. So we are this month, we are donating 50% of our, it's actually more than that because my wife and I are giving too, but eat, drink, and give generously. More pig, less cancer. This is for, and I put it in the notes here. Let me click on it so I can remember exactly what it's for. It's for a donation to go to St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. So, that's my brother's playing at this. There's a whole, I'm going to kind of throw my wife under the bus here. So I was like, all right, I'm like, there's so many different raffles. Okay. So you go there and you put your money down, get your tickets and stuff because they're trying to raise more money. There was this one young little girl that is a friend of my wife's daughter. They're the ones putting it on. They happen to be using my brother's band to play. Who's John has seen my brother play. But my brother texts me, this is a couple months ago. He's like, oh, I'm playing this. And we're like, yeah, we know. Okay. So, just kind of intersection there. But yeah, they're looking at all these things that you can raffle off. And one of them's it's a 50-50 raffle. So, there's an autographed, lyrics from, Eddie Vedder. There's a whole bunch of stuff, tons of like really valuable stuff that they're raffling off. And my wife's like, you don't want to just get like, look at all these cool things. I go, no, I'm plunking $200 down on 50-50. You get what you want. She goes, but you could get all these cool things. And I go, no, you do the 50-50. If you win, you give it all back. And she goes, no, look at what you could win. I go, I think you're forgetting what we're doing. We're supposed to be helping people. Like, we're not going shopping. Like, what are we doing? She goes, but you could win. I go, I know. I didn't say you couldn't do it, but that's what I'm doing with our money. So, but yeah, that's what we're doing at St. Jude's Hospital for this month. So we haven't missed a month. We haven't talked about it every week like we used to, but we are still donating every month. So,
you did miss one of my my experiences. We've skipped one. And this is important because this will.
Oh, I am so sorry.
I just suddenly remembered. Don't worry, I've only just remembered.
I didn't even put it in the show notes, and it's kind of your fault.
You. Yeah,
it's not the poster behind me. You wish. Actually, a lot of listeners wish.
Yeah,
I am so sorry. I forgot that, but like I said, it wasn't in the show. Now I've got to add it. But okay, Elemental. Go.
Yeah. So yeah, good news, guys. This is a film with the word element in that I like. So that's good news. So
that's where you were going.
All happy. So yes. So this is Elemental. Just came out this week on Disney Plus. Came out Thursday, Friday, something like that last week. I skipped it in cinemas. It was famously a bomb on its first week, and then it grew legs and has made plenty of money. So Pixar still have not had a bomb. And it's a really, really nice movie. Nice, safe, fun movie with a bit of science thrown in. And it's about a group of a world in which you have fire people, water people, air people, and wood people, like elements. And they all
I see what they did there.
There you go. And they all live together in this city. And our heroes are fire people. And the daughter of this particular family develops a bond with someone from water. And what happens when water meets fire? Steam. And it gets steamy. Not like that because it's a cartoon. And it's really, really fun. And I watched this with a member of the target audience and someone else on Saturday afternoon, pouring down with rain here into Cinema George, like 5. And we watched the whole thing at a decent level. It's in Atmos, 4K HDR, and it looks absolutely amazing. It's three-dimensional from minute one. So it starts with a shot over this city, and it's like you could reach in and touch it. And all the different, I mean, you can see it actually quite well from that picture. I mean, that's just a poster, but you can see kind of the detail in the flames and the flickering of the flames and all the different color variations. And then the water people have got bubbles moving inside them. And when they sweat, the water obviously runs down. And it just looks phenomenal. So it looks great. The Atmos is not bad at all either. Bearing in mind it's a Disney stream, where you have the daughter is prone to losing her temper. And when she loses her temper, she turns purple. And you then get a sort of an explosion. And you feel that there's a bass thud when she does it. And it was like, oh, okay, that was quite nice. You know, that happens a few times in the film. So it's actually really decent. And so if you like animated movies and you've got Disney Plus, I don't think it's out on disc anytime soon. I recommend this. It's really fun and a good way to spend, a couple of hours on a wet Saturday afternoon. So yeah, really, really good.
Yeah.
And way better than The Fifth Element, obviously. So there we go.
Well, not obviously. That's subjective.
Sorry, I should let me correct that. It's a lot better than the Bruce Willis Fifth Element. It's not as cool as the Bright Side Fifth Element, obviously. That's way better.
There you go. Right.
But yes. So yeah, that's good. I recommend this, guys. I think you'll enjoy this. You get a kick out of this.
It is out on Kaleidoscape.
Okay.
In the 4K HDR, so it should be out soon. Well, it will be coming soon on disc.
Oh yeah, it'll hit disc. It's just when.
Yeah.
But it's good. Yeah, recommend it.
So you say that about like kids movies and stuff like that. There's features I'm looking for my new remote system and for tweaks of the week where we're going to be having grandchildren and stuff in the theater, and there's remotes that you can. Kaleidoscape already does it with a single remote, but other companies are doing it where you put a smaller remote, and as soon as that remote's used, it triggers every component to be all, kid friendly. You set the level, so it's just like everything they watch would be just that. And I'm like, man, that would be cool. It's like, I'm hoping it's like a Control 4 has it, something like that, which I'm plan on trying, like something like that. That's one of the things I'll be looking for, but that would be really cool so that you can just send, here's the remote, and just, you guys can do whatever you want, and you don't have to worry about them, pulling up God knows what.
You're a more trusting man than me.
Yeah.
I'm watching like a hawk. If anyone is under the age of about 90, then I'm sort of staring at them the whole time.
In the room, you mean? Yeah.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh yes. I had some friends come around a couple of weeks ago, and they've got a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old, and they'd never been to a cinema before. 6 years old.
Wow.
I know. So she comes in, and because they're like, they'd heard tale of the cinema room, so they come in, and the 6-year-old
give them a copy of the article.
Yeah, well,
here you go. Before you go in, here you go. Here's your free copy. Thank you for coming.
Yeah,
was the line long outsid? Was it, can I get you a drink or something?
That's the thing. So she comes in and she dived over the back sofa, dived over that onto the front sofa. Now, the look on my face must have been enough for them to basically grab her and drag her from the room. I mean, I didn't know quite what to say, but let's just say that I don't think she'll be coming back in anytime soon. She'll be about 26 the next time.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, it was. But like I said, so you're very trusting, Deej.
Well, it'll be my grandchildren, and there will be a lock on the door. So, but yeah, if I want
sentry guns.
I'm not saying like the first time I meet a child, I hand them a small remote and go, knock yourself out, kid. It's like there will be an educational process in the beforehand. But yeah, it's funny when people go in and the kids, I've had little kids want to go up and touch the screen and stuff, and the parents like, oh, they're not going to hurt it. They're not going to do anything. I'm like, if they scratch that or damage it, are you willing to replace it? Oh yeah. Oh, we can replace that. No problem. Okay. I'll show you the bill. It's $3,500.
Yeah.
No, for just the
Come on,
screen.
Jimmy.
Yeah. I'm like, let's go. Why don't you have a lock on the door? Because I know how to treat the screen. It's like your kid doesn't live here. If it did, they would know. So,
Oh man,
Yeah.
but so it's something. As I said, I watch like a hawk.
Yeah.
I can't, not easy to relax when it's people that I know. Obviously, they're used to
Right.
it. Great, relax.
Yeah.
But otherwise, no.
I'm with you. When they first
Warden
first
Steve.
come in, you'll like stand against it. It's like, because that to me, that's the most vulnerable. Everything else is either the projector's high up or the screen, but the screen is the one they all want to. Little kids love to go up and hit and touch and feel the velvet. Like, shoot silly string at. Yeah, it's all fun.
Never more anxious
Oh,
than when something
yeah.
like that happens. Well, there
Yeah.
we go. That's enough of me being crotchety.
All right. Yeah, there we go. I don't think so. I'm sure you'll text me in the middle of the night.
Yeah. At the moment, I'm barely sleeping, so I probably will.
No kidding. There you go. Well, I'm up. All right. That's guys, we're coming in under.
I know.
Barely. I thought we were going to come in way under, but we decided to chat and discuss and debate. It's all subjective.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else, guys? It's
Nope.
So
Other than again to publicly thank John for the awesomeness of the Bear season 2.
Yeah.
Which,
I mean,
I'll
I
put up
didn't
with
I
it.
didn't
Oh,
write it or make
yeah.
it, but you're welcome.
I started it too.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to watch now. Yeah, my wife and I are watching it as we eat. I love it. Yeah,
It's
it's
great.
it is. It's not as tense as I thought it would be. Like the way you said it was like really tense, but it
It can get.
I'm
yeah, I
just-
don't know
I'm-
where you
yeah,
want
it is. But it's like, we're a few seasons, few episodes in, and we have friends that own a restaurant, and they're going through hell right now themselves. But I grew up in the restaurant life or around it, I should say, right? And I'm like, no, this is about right. It's like I've seen Eddie act that way. I've seen Eddie act like, the bear, right? And he's, like you got to be that way. And I see what all the characters are doing. I mean, it's really, it's one of those things where I think they didn't sell themselves correctly. I don't know.
Well,
It just,
if John hadn't mentioned it,
Yeah.
I would not have even given it a try. And yet,
Yeah.
I tweeted out earlier, that when John said season 2 is better, and you're 100% right, John, 100 million% right. I think season 2, the last couple of episodes, I think it's episode 5 and 6,
Yeah.
are some of the best written, acted, and performed TV since Breaking Bad or The Wire.
Well,
mean,
and some
this
of the
is-
character arcs too, especially
Yeah.
like
Oh, my
Richie
goodness
and
me.
like Richie's
Yeah, well,
arc was
quite-
fantastic.
There are episodes here that are as tense as any feature film, and also deliver as much dialogue as some feature films, I think, as well. It's exceptionally good, and very stressful indeed. So when you do get to these, there are ones where the whole thing is just passive aggressive heaven.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, oh my god. And anyone with a large family, I suspect, will recognize some of season
Some of
2.
it, yeah.
Will be just like, oh, yeah, that's Aunt Brenda. Yep, that's Uncle Dave. Yeah. Oh god, that's
Wow.
that's Mum.
John, Steve's coming up with those names too quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think they're real people.
Exactly.
Aunt Brenda.
It's like Aunt Brenda doesn't listen to Brightside Home Theater, so she's getting thrown under the bus.
yeah.
Oh, that's good. All right. We'll be back next week. Next week's Takeover Tuesday will be listener comments. So if you want to get a few in before I record, I'll probably be recording that this weekend at some point. You can get a few comments and email me at brightsidehometheater@gmail.com. Seems to be where everybody's going for that. Other than that, thank you to everybody, all the support, everything, helping us grow. Patreon supporters, thank you. We'll, check us out over there. If you're not already a Patreon supporter, we're doing a little extra things there. I mean, this is the bulk of us. This is us. And it is the community. But for people that, are helping support us financially, I'm trying to do a little bit extra, and it's taken off. I'm having fun with it. So hopefully I can get you guys in it. John, you're already a supporter. But Steve, we can get you in. Maybe sometime we'll do. I'll send you the link, and you can join us too when we do the Zoom. Yeah. And guys, if you guys, I'll say this here, if you guys want to do a little video message to Patreon, I can just put those up there too. Just like, I don't know if you've seen the couple I've done, but if you just want to do some high ones or whatever, I can post
in a
those.
white swimsuit, Deej, is that what we're doing? Is that
Yes.
what you think?
Don't spoil it. You got to go there to see it. You don't want to spoil it. It's like, geez. So,
Give the milk away for free, Steve.
I know. God, yeah.
That's what she said.
Exactly. You got there's a lot to that video, Steve, the coming and the going. It's like,
Oh, well. Indeed. What time is it?
I don't know. We got to go. What do we got to do?
Go push play. What he said.